The Carl Junction Business Expo is underway. We'll take you to the 4th annual Lavender Festival in Fort Scott. A number of people turn out for Miami's Pride Fest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A stolen car is recovered from Carthage, is recovered in Baxter Springs. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Chris Warner. This morning, 2 suspects were taken into custody after Cherokee County Sheriff's deputies found a stolen car being hid in the garage of a Baxter Springs home. Officials say they received information late this week on an unrelated investigation which took them to the Baxter Springs home. 2 people have been arrested. Well, earlier today, the Carl Junction Chamber of Commerce held their annual Expo Land. The Business Expo is an opportunity for area businesses and organizations to get out into the community and let people know about what they do. The event was for all ages and had activities for kids such as a balloon artist. One nonprofit aimed at promoting adult literacy was also at the event to spread the importance of their mission.
We're just really excited as a chamber that we're able to finally, through the last year and being the shutdown, and I know it's so important to our businesses and organizations to really get their name out there. Over the past year, they haven't really got to do a lot of marketing, so this is our opportunity to sort of give back to the community.
Joplin NALA not only covers the Joplin area, but then also really just the Southwest Missouri area as well. So we're here in Carl Junction again, just promoting the word, spreading the word, spreading the importance of adult literacy, and trying to just be available and trying to be good resources.
The Chamber says the event gave businesses from all over the area, including Joplin, Neosho, and Carthage, a chance to come to Carl Junction and interact with parts of the community they normally wouldn't. Another very hot day out there today, but it didn't seem to be as bad as the last couple of days. Nick Kelly joining us.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on for the most part, Chris. We had lower 90s for today, and the humidity kind of eased back as well. So certainly was a bit more comfy for any outdoor plans, but it was another day where it looked nice from 7th and range line, looks quiet on the radar, but we were hot and humid again. While thunderstorms were primarily staying around the St. Louis area, and additional storms out in Colorado and western Kansas, actually ahead of our next frontal system that will thankfully change things up and give us a break from the heat as we go into next week. Before that front gets here, though, we're sitting right around the 90-degree mark across the area. You factor in the humidity that we do have. Feels like the lower to middle 90s all across the board. A quick look at the evening, though, has us in the upper 80s to start the evening out. Then we'll fall through the 70s for the rest of the night, down to about, let's say, 71 for overnight lows. A mild night, Chris, and followed by another hot and humid day, but relief from this heat is on the way. We'll break down the week ahead here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Well, dozens of folks took time today to get outside and enjoy the lavender fields. The Lavender Patch held its annual Lavender Festival east of Fort Scott. Betsy and David Reichert started the small lavender farm in 2010, and this is the 4th year they've invited the community to a summer festival. It celebrates the beginning of the lavender harvest. Folks took part in several activities, including a hands-on children's fairy garden, while enjoying the beauty of nature and the sound of music.
We have U-Picks where you can pick some lavender, walk through the fields, take as many pictures as you want. We have someone doing braiding hair with lavender going, just a whole bunch of activities. We're even selling lavender plants.
You can catch the Lavender Patch Farm booth at various festivals in southeast Kansas. Well, plenty of people packed Miami's Riverview Park Pavilion today, all for the Miami NEOK Pride 2021 celebration. Organizers say they wanted to bring people together as a show of equality, tolerance, and love. The event featured tons of cool things to check out, including local vendor booths, drag pageants, live music, a DJ, and plenty of activities for the kids. One attendee tells KOAM that she came to the event to celebrate who she is and show that same support to others in her community. Well, for the first time since 2019, Americans are enjoying Father's Day weekend with fewer coronavirus restrictions. But President Biden is warning the pandemic is not over, and he's urging more people to get vaccinated. Michael George has more from New York.
Father's Day is especially poignant for Jeff Sweat of Los Angeles, who nearly died of COVID-19 over the winter.
I think we don't take for granted being together anymore.
The 49-year-old father of 3 said goodbye to his family on a Zoom call from his hospital bed.
We came so close to losing him, so I think we should take keeping him as a gift.
About 65% of eligible American adults have had at least one COVID vaccine dose. President Biden's goal is for 70% by July 4th.
On July 4, we're going to celebrate our independence from the virus as we celebrate our independence of our nation. We want everyone to be able to do that.
But only 15 states in the District of Columbia have surpassed that 70% threshold. Many remain far behind, especially in the Deep South.
Let's get this done.
As vaccination rates decline, the fast-spreading and more contagious Delta variant, first detected in India, is now found in 49 states. A recent study found one dose of the Pfizer vaccine is only about 33% effective against the Delta variant, while both doses offer about 88% protection.
The millions of people who now have only gotten one dose are at risk, especially against these variants, especially against the Delta variant.
A new AP NORC poll reveals young adults, those without a college degree, white evangelicals, rural Americans, and Republicans are most hesitant to get vaccinated. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, the AP NORC poll also finds 34% of Americans think restrictions in their area were lifted too quickly, while 27% believe they weren't lifted quickly enough. Well, suburban St. Louis police chief has resigned over concerns about a new Missouri law that would ban police officers from enforcing federal gun rules. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports that Philip Dupois, who has been the police chief of the city of O'Fallon since October of 2020, cited the poor wording and unintended consequences of the high-profile bill. Signed into law just last week, it allows officers to be sued if they try to enforce federal gun laws. Dupois said that makes officers vulnerable during, quote, good faith justified seizures of firearms. More than 100,000 names will be removed from Georgia's voter registration rolls. The voter files being removed are said to be obsolete and outdated. The list has been made public. This is the first time Georgia has done a major purge of voter rolls since 2019, but the state does regularly remove felons and those who have passed away. In March, Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp signed a law that imposes a voter ID requirement for absentee ballots and reduces the number of ballot boxes in large counties. It also shortens the length of runoff elections. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Corporal Elda Turner served in the Army from 1953 to 54 in Korea as part of the 5th Regimental Combat Team, his hometown, Nevada. We are proud to recognize Corporal Elda Turner, tonight's four-state hero. And that's a look at our top stories and a quick check of that forecast on the KOAM News at 6. Still ahead, we're going to take a look back at some of the week's top health stories, and Moscow records a record number of new COVID cases. What leads people to cut down on sugar and the link between COVID deaths and unequal hospital care? Skylar Henry has some of the week's top health stories.
A new study at the University of Pennsylvania shows COVID-19 death rates for black patients would be 10% lower if they had access to the same hospitals as white patients. Researchers found black patients have worse outcomes largely because they go to lower performing hospitals near where they live. A new report finds fast food companies are spending more on advertising and disproportionately targeting black and Hispanic youth. The Red Center for Food Policy and Obesity pegged spending at $5 billion in 2019, with black children seeing 75% more ads than their white counterparts. And a report says taxing sweetened drinks and food does lead to people consuming less. The study in the Journal of the American Medical Association looked at a sugar tax in Philadelphia. Researchers found purchases of sweetened drinks dropped 42% at stores that charge more. The decrease was especially significant in lower-income communities. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Moscow has recorded more than 9,100 new COVID-19 cases today. That's the highest daily number since the beginning of the pandemic, according to the government's coronavirus task force. More than 1.2 million people have been infected so far in the city. Moscow's mayor announced new restrictions on Friday to curb the spread of the virus. And a new study shows people infected with COVID-19 may experience some loss of gray matter in the brain. The study out of the UK indicates the areas of the brain affected are the ones that control smell and taste. That finding correlates with the most commonly reported symptoms of COVID-19, the loss of smell and taste. The relatively small study followed 782 people who had MRI scans 3 years apart before and after the pandemic. While researchers believe the findings are compelling, they have not been authenticated by peer review. Also, because the study only looked at COVID patients' brains shortly after being infected, the long-term effects are not clear. Well, still ahead, a street in Lima, Peru shut down because of a dog.
Plus, we'll focus on some heat for tomorrow and relief from it for the week ahead. Forecast it next.
There may be.
No surprise it was hot and humid once again for today after we saw highs back into the lower, if not mid-90s once again, especially as the weekend got underway. Certainly a hot start after quite a warm start that Friday morning. At least a little bit lower with the temperatures this morning, but at least lower in the middle 70s for a very mild start this morning, and then topping out at least around 90 for this afternoon. So while the temperatures weren't quite as high, we did some of that, we still have rather, some of that humidity in place. Thinking hot and humid again for our Sunday as we wrap up this weekend and for our Father's Day and to kick off the official start of summer for tomorrow. But our first Monday of the summer season brings in a cold front with better chances for rain and thunderstorms, and then behind the front, a break from the heat. Still going to be warm, but this is going to be much needed relief from the heat as we go through at least the middle part of the week ahead of us. 7th range line, we'll call that a mostly sunny sky. Looks nice. Might not feel quite as nice though. At least temperatures were better now compared to 24 hours ago. 88 in Joplin, feels like 92 with a south wind at 13 and a dew point sitting in the upper 60s, 69 to be exact. Everybody else around the Joplin metro sitting in the upper 80s to near 90. We have 91 though in Girard, 87 in Carthage, Diamond, Neosho, while we have Baxter sitting at 89. Outside of the Joplin metro, we have some lower 90s from Parsons, Chanute points west, and then again, mainly upper 80s to near 90 on the southwest Missouri side. But you factor in the humidity, makes it feel like we're in the mid 90s at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Fortunately, as we continue to get past sunset, we'll fall through the 80s, 70s, down to about 71 for at least a not so bad start for our Sunday morning. Not a lot happening here. We just have some passing cloud cover throughout the day. We got a good cluster of storms around the St. Louis area, additional storms out west around Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado, all along a frontal system, while the front to the north, our warm front isn't going to do anything. This stationary front out west is going to turn into a cold front and race toward us as we go through not only tomorrow, but Monday as well. And it's nice to see the upper level ridge finally break down, but we're still under its influence. That's why we stayed in the 90s once again for today. But this changing setup is what's going to allow the temperatures to finally ease up quite a bit as we go into early next week. For tonight, though, we'll call it mostly clear, and then maybe some passing cloud cover tomorrow while we still continue with another hot and kind of humid day. There's one thing that could help us out, though. It's the breeze. South at 5 to 10 to start, then kicking up at 10 to 20 miles per hour during the afternoon. But still, we'll go to 89 by noon and afternoon highs around 94. I think we're dry for much of Sunday night, but as our next cold front begins to work in, we'll watch for storms going into your Monday morning. And then better chances throughout the rest of the day. And as these rain chances in the front roll on through, it's going to be interesting to show you how it looks on the 7-day, because a high of 80 on Monday, that's technically going to be a midnight high. And as the front and the rain chances pick up, the temperatures will drop throughout the course of the day. 78 Tuesday, 84 Wednesday. Dry for these days. That's looking really good before we try to see some lower 90s return by the end of the week. So, Chris, we are definitely looking a lot better as we go on down the road. We just got to get past another hot, humid day tomorrow.
Just one more of those hot, humid days, and of course, summer's going to come in on a slightly cool start compared to what we've seen.
No complaints from me.
No, not at all. Nick, thank you so much. Well, 2 local athletes, Danny, representing Pitt State at the U.S. Olympic trials.
Javelin throwers Brett Thompson and Joshua Hudeberg are competing today. Plus, the Outlaws look to take momentum from a 16-6 victory with them as they head out for a road trip. That and more next. The 2 Pittsburgh State javelin throwers, Brett Thompson and Joshua Hudeberg, are out in Eugene, Oregon to compete in the U.S. Olympic trials. Thompson enters the trials ranked 10th. His best throw came here, reaching 251 feet, 6 inches. His teammate Hudeberg is ranked 24th. The prelims begin today with 12 of the 24 athletes moving on to the finals on Monday. We're 12 games through the summer baseball season, and the Outlaws have a 7-5 overall record. That's good enough to earn them the first place spot in the South Division. Joplin has also won their past 2 games, sweeping the series against Chillicothe. They scored 32 runs over the 2 games, including a 16-6 victory on Friday. The Outlaws trailed 6-2 in the 5th inning before coming back to win the game in 7 innings. Head coach Chris Dawson is pleased with the win and hopes to keep the momentum going.
They battled, they scored 5 in the 4th, I think it was, or the 5th, and then we answered back with that 7. They kind of helped us a little bit with the walks, and we took advantage with a couple hits and then just kept the foot on the pedal and, was able to get out of here early. As long as we can keep pitching like we have, Gavin came in today for his first appearance and was nails. He was lights out. I think he ended with like 7 straight strikeouts or 6 straight strikeouts, so it's good to add him to the mix. Our team's full now. We finally got our outfielder from Canada in today, so that's good. So just got to keep plugging away and keep pitching, playing defense, and hopefully we can keep this offensive streak going.
The Outlaws were scheduled to play at home tonight, but due to COVID-19 concerns with the opponent's team, there will be no game. Joplin is back in action on the road on Sunday against Jeff City. In the big leagues, Kansas City able to snap a 6-game skid on Friday. Adalberto Mondesi launched a monster 3-run homer, 464 feet, to propel the Royals to a nice 5-3 win over the Red Sox. Tonight is Game 2 of the series. This one goes the other way. The Red Sox get the 7-1 win. The Cardinals and Braves were supposed to play today, Game 3 of their series, but that game has been postponed. The teams will instead meet tomorrow for a doubleheader to close out the series. The Braves have won the first 2 games.
Again, back to the Missouri teams. We mention this every weekend. They're just not really pulling it, but at least KC got a win.
Right, and if there's no game, you can't lose.
That's true. That's true. So hopefully tomorrow's doubleheader, goodness, will be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Danny, thank you so much. We're back right after this. Tonight at 10, Joplin holds its first ever Black Expo, highlighting businesses owned by people of color. Plus, we'll take you to the Carl Junction Business Expo, and we're taking you to another expo of sorts, one of lavender. We've got those stories and a lot more tonight at 10. Well, security elements in the Surco district of Lima, Peru closed down a street to rescue a runaway dog called Moochie. Neighbors, drivers, and delivery personnel and motorcycles chased after Moochie on an overpass along Benavides Avenue. Moochie could be seen trying to bite people who tried to catch her. Several drivers parked their cars on the street to block her path. Moochie eventually got out of the overpass and ran into a veterinary clinic where she was captured and reunited with her owners. The dog hurt its left paw, the Surco municipal government said. The cause of the dog's escape remains unknown. In connection with Juneteenth, which is today, CBS is airing the movie Selma tomorrow night at 7. The Selma chronicles Dr. Martin Luther King's epic 1965 march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama to protect equal voting rights for African Americans. Again, that movie is airing tomorrow night at 7, right after 60 Minutes here on KOAM. Final check of that forecast, Mr. Kelly.
Well, we'll just do it again tomorrow. Hot and humid, maybe a little bit hotter with highs near 94, but a good cold front rolls in on Monday. 80 degrees to start today. They're dropping through to 70s throughout the day. Plenty of rain chances with that. And behind it, 78 Tuesday, 84 Wednesday. No complaints about that from me.
Looking pretty good. Nick, thank you. Final check of sports, Danny.
We'll have those updated results from the Olympic trials at 10.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. That's our time for now. Remember, you can catch up with us anytime online or with our KOAM News Now app. And thanks for making us part of your night.